Beyond the greenest hills in a faraway land, there was a huge farm called Sunny Farm, where the sun shone like gold every morning. Life on this farm was very busy. Every morning, Rusty the rooster would hop onto the highest fence and shout with his loud voice, "Cock-a-doodle-doo! Wake up, sleepyheads!" Bella the cow would jingle her bell and go out to graze, moo. And Daisy the duck would waddle to the pond, singing, quack, quack, quack. And then, there was Coco. Coco was a lovely chicken with white feathers as soft as cotton and a tiny red comb on her head. Coco looked just like all the other chickens. She liked eating corn, and she slept on the straw. But in Coco's heart, there was a huge dream that the other chickens didn't have, to fly. Every morning, Coco would look up at the sky, watching the swallows gliding and the crows flapping their wings, and she would sigh. Oh, she would say to herself, I have wings too. Look, here they are. 2 white wings. Why can't I touch the clouds like them? One Tuesday morning, Coco made up her mind. Today was the day. Today, she would fly. She climbed the ladder to the roof of the old barn. Her heart was beating thump, thump, thump. The other animals had gathered below. Rusty the rooster laughed teasingly. Hey Coco! What are you doing up there? Chickens can't fly, don't you know that? Daisy the duck flapped her wings. Watch out Coco, if you fall, you'll bump your bottom. Quack quack. Coco didn't listen to them. She took a deep breath. She closed her eyes. I am a bird. I am a bird, she whispered. And she threw herself into the air. She flapped her wings as hard as she could. Flap, 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 flap. For a second, she stayed in the air. I'm flying, she thought. But then, gravity caught her. Bump! Coco made a soft but slightly embarrassing landing right onto a pile of hay. Dust flew everywhere. Laughter rose from the farmyard. You see, said Bella the cow calmly. Our place is on the ground, darling. Not the sky. Coco shook herself off sadly. She lowered her head and walked towards the coop. Nobody saw the tiny tear in her eye. The next day, it was windy on the farm. The farmer's little daughter, Lily, had a birthday party the day before. Party decorations were still in the garden. Coco was sadly looking for worms by the garden fence. Just then, something brought by the wind caught her attention. It was something bright red. It was round. It was light. And it was floating in the air. It was a balloon. The balloon was stuck on a bush branch, and its string was swaying gently. Coco got closer. She tilted her head. How interesting, she said. It has no wings. It has no feathers. But it flies. It flies just because it is full of air. At that moment, a light bulb went off in Coco's head. Ping! If this balloon can fly, and if I hold on to this balloon, maybe I can fly too. But one balloon wasn't enough. Coco untied the red balloon and tied it around her waist. She felt just a tiny bit lighter, but her feet were still on the ground. I need more, said Coco. I need lots more. Coco needed help. Who was the best climber and the best knotter on the farm? Milo the little mouse, of course. Coco went to the small hole in the corner of the barn. Milo! Milo, are you awake? Milo poked his grey nose out of the hole. He adjusted his glasses. Hello, Coco. Why are you walking around with a red balloon on your waist? Is it a new fashion? Coco excitedly explained her plan. Milo, I am going to fly. But I need all the balloons from that barn. Will you help me? Milo twitched his whiskers. This is madness, Coco. But, it's fun madness. I'm in. The pair started working secretly. On the ceiling of the barn, there were dozens of balloons left over from the party. Blue balloons. Yellow balloons. Green balloons. Pink and purple balloons. Milo climbed up, untied the strings, and dropped them down to Coco. Coco caught the balloons and tied them tightly to the sides of an old wicker picnic basket she had found. They worked for hours. 1 balloon. 10 balloons. 20 balloons. The basket was slowly trying to lift off the ground. Coco put a heavy stone inside the basket so it wouldn't fly away without her. Finally, a giant cloud of colourful balloons had formed above the basket. It looked like a rainbow. In the afternoon, when the wind calmed down, Coco was ready. She dragged the basket to the middle of the farm, next to the big oak tree. This was very hard because the basket kept wanting to float away. Rusty the rooster came over again. What are you doing now, Coco? Are you going for a picnic in that basket? Daisy the duck giggled. Maybe she has become a balloon seller. Coco didn't answer them. She threw the heavy stone out of the basket. Then, she jumped inside. Hop! At first, nothing happened. Then, a gentle breeze blew. The balloons bumped into each other, squeak, creak, squeak. And slowly, very slowly, the bottom of the basket lifted off the ground. First, it rose as high as a finger. Then, it reached Bella the cow's knees. Then, it reached the top of the fence where Rusty was sitting. Rusty's eyes popped wide open. Cluck! That's impossible. Daisy forgot to quack in surprise. Coco was rising. She was really rising. Her feet were off the ground. She didn't need to flap her wings. The colourful balloons were carrying her up, higher and higher, like a lift. Coco looked down. Sunny Farm didn't look huge anymore. The barn was like a small box. Bella the cow looked like a tiny spotted ladybird. The tractor was the size of a red ant. Coco shouted, "This is it!" Her voice echoed in the sky. I'm flying. Rusty, look. Daisy, look. I am flying. The wind ruffled her feathers. Coco felt something she had never felt before, freedom. A flock of sparrows flew past. One of the sparrows stopped in surprise. Hello, said the sparrow. You are a very strange bird. You have very colourful and round heads. Coco laughed. I am a balloon chicken, she said. She glided over the farm. She passed the cornfields. She passed the pond. She touched the leaves at the very top of the trees. The sun was closer to her. The clouds looked like candy floss. Coco wasn't the sad chicken who couldn't fly because she had no wings anymore. She was an explorer who had conquered the sky using her brain. After a while, the sun began to set. The sky turned shades of orange and purple. Time to go home, said Coco. But how would she land? She hadn't thought about that. Luckily, Milo had given Coco a secret tip. If you want to come down, Coco, untie the balloon strings one by one. Coco gently pulled the string of the yellow balloon with her beak. The knot came undone, and the balloon floated away into the sky. The basket lowered a tiny bit. Then she untied the blue balloon. It lowered a bit more. Slowly, as light as a feather, she drifted towards the middle of the farm. Below, all the animals were gathered, waiting for her. There was silence. Everyone was holding their breath. The basket landed on the soft grass. Plop! Coco stepped out of the basket. She held her head high. Rusty the rooster stepped forward. He didn't have his teasing smile anymore. He looked at Coco with respect. Coco, said Rusty. I was wrong. I thought chickens couldn't fly. But you went higher than all of us. Daisy the duck said, that was the most wonderful thing I have ever seen. Will you teach me too? I am bored of swimming. I want to travel by balloon for a bit. Coco smiled. She opened her wings, not to fly, but to hug her friends. Of course, she said. Anyone can fly if they want to. You don't just need wings, you need a little imagination and a few balloons. That evening, there was a big celebration at Sunny Farm. Coco was no longer the chicken who couldn't fly, she was Coco the Sky Explorer. And from that day on, whenever a chicken looked up at the sky and sighed, Coco would wink at them and say, never give up. Maybe your way isn't flapping wings, maybe your way is balloons. The end.